सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथ बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत्। अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये। ओमित्येतदक्षरमुद्गीतमुपासीत ओमिति ह्युद्गायते तस्योपव्याख्यानम्। Page 393. इतरव्यपदेशाद् हिताकरणादिदोषप्रसक्तिः। Itara Vyapadeshad, Vyapadesha mentioned because of the mention of the other one. So Anyatha Punaha Chetana Karanvada Akshipyade. In another way, the Purvapakshi is questioning how Chetana, consciousness that is Brahman, how can it be the Jagat Karanam, how can it be the cause of creation? Chetana the Jagat Prakriyayam Ashrimanayam. If you resort to this view that Jagat, the creation, is a result of the consciousness Brahman, that's a cause, meaning that if we trace the cause of the universe to consciousness Brahman, then Hita Karanadayo Doshaha Prasajyante, then Brahman will be blamed for those are the defects of hita akaranam, not doing what is beneficial, ahita karanam, and doing something that is not beneficial, hurtful. Kutaha, how? We say that Brahman is a creator, Brahman is omniscient, so Brahman cannot do anything which is hurtful to Brahman. Cannot be. How can it be? Jiva can do something that is hurtful because Jiva is limited in knowledge. But how can Brahman do that? says, but Jiva and Brahman are one. Itarasya sharirasya brahmatmatvam vyapadishati shrutehi. Shruti mentions or teaches the itara, sharira, the embodied one, the Jiva. Brahmatmatvam, that Jiva, so Brahma is the Atma, the self of Jiva. That Jivatma, the embodied soul, and Brahma are one. This is what the Shruti teaches. Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. In that statement, hey Shvetaketu, that Brahman is the Atma and that's what you are. So this is identity of Brahma and Jivatma. Iti pratibodhana. So taking these words literally that you are Brahman, where you is interpreted as a limited individual, Svetaketu, Ahankara, Jivatma. So that statement is interpreted to mean that Jiva is Brahman, Ahankara is Brahman, Samsara is Brahman. That's with that interpretation. Iti srashtueva itarasya cha yadva. Or itar also can mean, so in one case itara means the sharira, jivatma. In another interpretation, itar also can mean Brahman. Yadva itarasya cha brahmana shariratma karyanu praveshena shariratmatva pradarsanat. The second Shruti does not directly say that Brahman is Jiva, but it amounts to saying that. Tat srishtva tadeva anupravishada. And having created this body, mind, sense complex, Brahman entered it. Iti srashtuhueva avikritasya brahmanaha. So Brahman, which is the creator of the universe, Brahman, without undergoing any change, he entered this upadhi, and therefore shariratmatvam vyapadishati, or shariratmatva pradarsanat. It amounts to saying that when you say that Brahman, as it is, the limitless Brahman, entered this body, mind, sense complex, it amounts to saying that Brahman is the embodied one, because the only conscious being here is the Jiva. So that Brahman has become Jiva. So that also, one says Jiva is Brahman Tattvamasi, other one says Brahman is Jiva. So both ways the equation is stated by the Shruti. और ब्रह्म कर्तृ को व्यपदेश इतर व्यपदेश इति. और इतर व्यपदेश मीन्स the व्यपदेश or mention on the part of Brahman. Brahman itself says something. What? अनेन जीवेन आत्मना अनुप्रविश्य नाम रूपे व्याकरवाणी इति. Entering these three elements as Jivatma, I will bring the manifestation, names and forms. So I will enter these elements of the Upadhi as Jivatma. Iti cha paradevata jivam atma shabdena vyapadishanti. So paradevata, param brahma, mentions Jivan as Jivena Atmana, means Jiva is the very self. Na brahmana bhinna sharira iti darshayati. There is only one entity here. In this body, there is only one entity, one conscious being. And Brahman says, I will enter this body as Jivatma, Jivena Atmana, as Jivatma. And so it says, I will become Jivatma and enter the body. So the one that obtains as Jiva is Brahman. न ब्रह्मणः भिन्न शारीरः इति दर्शयति. The Sharira, the embodied one, is not different from Brahma. This is what the Shruti mentions. So as we said, the equation is like this: A is equal to B and B is equal to C. Therefore, A is equal to C. So Brahman is a creator and Brahman is Jiva. So Jiva is a creator. This is how literally it is taken. Idea is that Mahavakyas can be interpreted like this. Most people tend to interpret them this way. Often it is when it is said that I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, then ordinary people understand that, hey, I am Brahman. So the Ahankara is Brahman. Hey, by this knowledge, will you not become proud? You will become proud if you have not understood that. So in a way, that how to interpret these Mahavakyas? The Shruti talks about the oneness of Brahman and Jiva. What does it mean? It is different oneness with a difference. But here the Purva Paksha is being built up. Tasmad yad brahmana srastritvam tat sharirasya iti. So Brahman is definitely the Karta or the creator of the universe. And Brahman is Jivatma. Therefore Jiva is the creator of the universe. Atah sa swatantra karta san hitamev atmana saumanyaskaram kuryat. So Jivatma now is Swatantra. He is independent in creating whatever he wants. Then if somebody is free to create, you will naturally create something that you like. That is Saumanascharam, pleasing to the mind, isn't it? Na ahitam janma marana jara rogadi anekartha jalam. When you build a house, you make it comfortable. You don't really put holes in there that can fall down, When you build a house, you don't build a well right in the center of the room so that you can fall down inside. Or you can make the tile so slippery that you can slip and hurt yourself. Nobody will do that. Even while choosing the tiles in the bathroom, and then you say that there must be a matte finish, so it's not slippery. All of this you see. You don't deliberately make it slippery so that you can fall down and invite trouble. Nobody would do anything that would invite trouble for one's own self. But look what this Jivatma has created the universe. Look what he has done. Janma marana jara rogadi anekartha jalam. He has created for himself this host of calamities like the birth, like death, like the old age, like disease. Life is full of pain. Doesn't make sense. The idea is that Jivatma should be the creator doesn't make sense. So Jivatma cannot be created. And Jivatma is same as Brahman. Therefore Brahman cannot be created. This is the line of argument. Nahi kaschit apartantraha bandhanagaram atmana kritva anupravishati. Nobody who is not under duress, who is independent, free. So nobody will on his own will create a prison and enter the prison. But this Jivatma has created a body which is like prison. Tat sushtva tadevanu pravishada. He created this prison and entered willingly. How can anybody do that? Because entering and functioning through this body is all nothing but pain. See further. Nacha स्वयं अत्यंत निर्मल सन अत्यंत मलिनम देहम आत्मत्वेन उपेयाद. The Atma that is ever pure. How can Atma who is ever pure, absolutely pure, choose to enter a body that is impure? Or accept the body as a self, the most impure body. How can Atma who is ever pure accept this impure body as a self? Further, Kritam abe kathanchit yad dukha karam tad ichchaya jahyad. In case you have done something which you find was improper, it is possible that you may wind up doing something which later turns out to be inconvenient. Then you make it convenient. You don't retain, so you have the freedom to remove the inconvenience. Oh Swamiji, this kitchen is too small, you have to make it bigger. This wall has to be shifted. People do all kinds of changes in the house. When they discover that what is not convenient, not comfortable, then they make an attempt to make it comfortable. Swami, this house is not in keeping with the Vastu Shastra. That's You are on a trip, you are on a ride. This Vastu Shastra, break this wall, create this door here, and all kinds of things they do. Other fellow will come and say, no, this is wrong, and when you do that, third fellow will say, this is wrong. But anyway, when you find that this house creates all kinds of problems, Swamiji, because it does not conform to Vastu Shastra, so you make changes. It's called parihara. You want to remove those problems. Put some crystals here, pyramids there, and things like that, So, kritam api kathanchit yad dukha karam. In case you discover that what you have created is painful, then tat ichchaya jahya, then you are free to enter. You are free to leave also, is it not so? When you enter a house, you are free to leave that house. So many people leave the house. Swamiji, having come to this house is no good for us. All kinds of problems have come to the family after coming to this house, so they change. Ichchaya jahyad. They will voluntarily change it also. Why doesn't this fellow change it? Why does he keep on suffering? Sukha karam cha upadadita. One will give up what is painful and they accept what is pleasant. And then Creator is omniscient, Brahman is omniscient, so Jiva also should be omniscient. And omniscient should remember everything. Smarecha maya idam jagat bimbam vichitram virachitamiti. And if Jivatma has really created the universe, and I'll remember what a wonderful creation I have made. Usually we display what we have done with pride. So bring people to our ashram and show them with the pride, see what we have done. See this hostel we have created, look at this. Because you remember that I have done it. Smarecha maya edam jagat bimbam vichitram, the most wonderful bimba. The circle, the sphere of the universe has been created by me. But then there is no rule that you will remember everything that you have done. Sir, but you may not remember everything. But when you have done something outstanding, some notable act you have performed, you will definitely remember. You may not remember everything. But something notable that you may have done in your life, that people do remember. Even people who have lost their short memory also remember what all happened in the past. His own marriage, the grandfather remembered his own marriage, and what was all done that time, all of that he remembers and describes. because that was an important event. Similarly, creating this world is a very important event, and therefore sarvo hi lokah spashtam karyam krutva, having performed a spashta, a very notable act, smarati maya edam krutamiti, remembers that I have done this. Or spashtam smarati, very clearly remembers I have done this. Further, if you say that this Jagat is Maya, why do you bother? It's all mithya. In mithya, all these questions don't matter. Mithya means it does not have to be logical, that's all. Mithya means it is not logical. So you are right, all these defects are there. But Jagat is mithya, so what do these defects matter? He says mithya means creation of Maya. Then just as a Mayavi, a Jadugar or a magician creates with his magic net of magic and withdraws his magic also, so also this Jivatma should be able to withdraw this universe. Yatha cha Mayavi swayam prasaritam mayam ichchaya anayasena upasamharati. Just as the magician winds up or folds up his magical net at will, at ichcha. Evam shariropi imam sustim upasamharet. Similarly, if this Jivatma has created this universe, then he will upasamharet. He will be able to fold up the whole universe and again, make it one with himself, fold up within himself. Swamapitavat shariram sharirah na shaknoti anayasena upasamhartum. Let alone the whole creation, he cannot even fold up his body. People keep on saying, Bhagavan, now take me away. So one's own body, one is not able to withdraw. Where is the question of withdrawing the whole universe? So all these logical problems are there in the identity between Jiva and Brahma. That because Brahman is stated as the Jagat Karanam, cause of creation, therefore Jivatma being identical to Brahma also becomes cause of creation. And all these ridiculous, all these illogical consequences will be there. Therefore, Jivatma cannot be the creator. And Jivatma is Brahman, therefore Brahman cannot be the creator. So that's the main point. So Chetana Karanavadaha atha punah akshipyate anyatha punah akshipyate. In another manner, they are questioning the Vada, the view that Chetanam or consciousness, that is Brahman is Jagat Karanam, cause of creation. That view is questioned in a different way. Evam hitakriyadi adarsanat anyaya chetanat jagata prakriya iti gamyate. Therefore, we are obliged to conclude that this Chetana Jagat Prakriya, that Chetana or consciousness, which is Brahman, has created this universe, is anyaya. It is not in keeping with reasoning. Because of what? Hita kriyadi adarsanat. Because the creator, Jivatma, has not created what is beneficial to him and has created what is not beneficial to him. Because of this, we conclude that Brahman is not Jagat Karanam. Therefore, as Ratnava said, Jiveshayoho abhedat jivagat doshaha brahmani syuhu. Because Jiva and Brahman are identical, therefore, whatever doshas, defects are there in Jivatma, they will all land in Brahman also, because Brahman and Jivatma are one. Brahma gadascha sruti samhara shakti sarvasmartattvadayo gunaha jivesyuhu. At the same time, all the great attributes of Brahman, which is what? Srushti Samhara Shakti. Brahman is a power to create, to destroy. Smartatvadi, and also being omniscient, remembers everything. There must be somebody who remembers everything, some entity. Because na bhuktam kshiyate karma kalpa koti shatairapi. If you perform an action today, it has to give rise to a result. Sometime it can be even not immediate, it can be in remote future. When is it possible? When there is somebody who makes note of it and remembers. Kratau supte jagrat tvamse phalayoge kratumatam karma pradvastam phaldi purusharadhanam rute atas tvam samprekshya. Kratusu phaladana pratibhuvam. O Lord, people perform these rituals, which rituals will give rise to result in future. But how can you be sure that you will get the appropriate result for what you are doing today? Only when there is a guarantee. Tvam, Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva is being addressed here. Atas tvam sampreksha kratusu phaladana pratibhuvam. So you are the guarantor. And looking at you as a guarantor, people perform their actions, being assured that at appropriate time the result will come. So there is somebody who remembers what is done here at this time, place and under conditions, and what the outcome should be at a given time, place and condition. So omniscience, our Swamiji says, look at this universe, it is a manifestation of omniscience, sarvajñatvam. Ishvara is sarvajña, omniscient, all-knowing. It is a knowledge that is manifest everywhere. Everything is a manifestation of knowledge. Knowledge means omniscience. Knowledge can be consciousness also, but then as far as names and forms are concerned, they are all manifestation of omniscience. Because everything is functioning in an intelligent manner, everything. So all doshas of Jiva will land into Brahman, and all glories of Brahman will land into Jiva. You say, good, that's nice. Nacha ishtahapatti. Don't say that this will be good for you. Tavaya siddhanta he vedantin. Jivasya swasharirepi samhara samarthya adarsanat. Poor Jiva cannot fold up his own body also. Where is the question of Sarva Shakti, capability of folding up the whole universe? Iti prapte Siddhanta Sutram Vyachaste. Therefore, the next is the Siddhanta Sutra. Adhikam tu Veda Nirdesha. Adhikam tu. No. Brahman is not just the Jiva. Brahman is Adhikam, much more than Jiva. Veda Nirdesha. But just as a Shruti mentions the Abheda or oneness between Jiva and Brahman, so also Shruti says that Brahman is different from Jiva. Both these Nirdesha are there. If you take one group of statements of Shruti, then it seems that they talk about the absolute identity between Jiva and Brahman. But there is another group of statements which say that Brahman is different from Jiva. That also is there. So we have to come to an understanding, take into account all the statements, not just one group of statements. And so, sarvabhutasthamatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshara yoga yuktatma. Sarvabhutasthamatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani. That all the beings are in me, superimposed upon me. That jiva is a superimposition. When it is said this rope is the same as a snake, what is meant is the snake is superimposition upon the rope. Otherwise, if rope and snake were absolutely identical, then all the defects of the snake will be in the rope. But the snake does not poison the rope. The mirage water does not wet even one grain of sand. That ghost, the bleeding mouth, the mouth of the ghost is bleeding, doesn't do anything to the post. Similarly, so identity is which way? Jiva is superimposition upon Brahman. There's a Hey Shvetaketu, remove from yourself the superimposition aspect, then you are Brahman. The snake is being told, you are rope. Not a snake, as Asti Bhati, the snake is the rope. Understand that? Similarly, Shvetaketu is Brahman as Asti Bhati Priyam. Because in Shvetaketu there are two elements. One is the real element, other is the superimposed element. When you say I am Sarpaha, you are, this is the snake, then I am belongs to the rope, Sarpa is the superimposition. Similarly, I am Jivaha or Aham Jivaha, Aham Manushyaha, Aham Purushaha. When it is said, Aham belongs to Brahman, the Purusha belongs to Upadi, superimposition. Therefore, what is being taught is that after removal of the Mithya Amsha, you are Brahman. But if you take yourself to Jiva, then Brahman is different from you. That also is being said. So, Bheda Nirdesha. Just as there is Abheda Nirdesha, there is the mention of the Abheda or oneness between Jiva and Brahman. So also, from the standpoint of consciousness, that is Abheda or identity. From the standpoint of Upadi, there is Bheda also. From the Upadi standpoint, Brahman is different from Jiva. Ishvara is different from Jiva. So Bhashyakara says on page 394, Tu shabdaha paksham vyavartayate adhikam tu. That word tu in the sutra is for refuting the Purva Paksha, refuting the view of the opponent. Says Nyaya Nirnaya Yaduktam Hita Karnadayo Doshaha Brahmani Pradusyuhu iti Tatraha. You are saying that Brahman and Jivatma are one, then all the defects of Jivatma also will apply to Brahman. To that, the answer is given in the next sentence. Yat sarvajñamiti. Yat sarvajñam sarvashakti brahma nitya shuddha buddha mukta svabhavam sharirat adhikam anyat tadvayam jagatah srastra brumah. When we say Jagat Karanam, what do we mean? See, Brahman means only Ishvara. Saguna Brahma can be Jagat Karanam in a primary sense. Nirgunam Brahman is Jagat Karanam only in a secondary sense. Saguna Brahma means Maya Shabalam Brahman. Brahman with the Upadhi of Maya is the creator in primary sense. Yet Sarvajñam, all the Sarvajñam, Sarvashaktimatvam, Sarvajñatvam, Sarvashaktimatvam, omniscience, omnipotent, all of these attributes are in Maya. So it's Sarvajñam, Sarvashakti Brahma. So Brahman, that is omniscient, omnipotent. Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Svabhavam, which is ever pure, of the nature of knowledge or consciousness, ever free. Sharirat Adhikam, Adhikam means Anyat, Adhikam can be greater or different. Adhikam is Anyat. That Brahman which is creator is different from the embodied soul, understand? Tadvayam Jagataha Srastru Bhrumaha. When we say that Brahman is the cause of creation, we mean the one that is omniscient, omnipotent, Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Svabhavam. So that is the creator of the universe. Tatra Hetumaha. The reason for that is being said here, na tasmin, nahi iti. Oh, no, sorry. Na tasmin hitakarana dayo doshaha prasajyante. Tasmin brahmani, in that Brahman, hita akarana dayo doshaha. So not doing what is beneficial and doing something that is hurtful, this dosha, the defects, cannot apply to Brahman that is omniscient, omnipotent. Tatra hetu maha. Why? Why not? Nahi iti. So Bhashyakara says, Nahi tasya hitam kinchit kartavyam asti ahitam va परिहर्तव्यम नित्य मुक्त स्वभावत्वाद. See, when you take Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Svabhavam, then even Sarvajñatvam, Sarvashaktimatvam also is Gaunam. Understand? Consciousness cannot be said to be omniscient in a primary sense. With Maya Upadhi, it can be called omniscient. By itself, it is not even omniscient, omnipotent, it is. But still, because Brahman, without Brahman the creation cannot be, therefore Brahman is called Jagat Karanam, and therefore it is called, and the Nimitta Karanam, the efficient cause, must necessarily knower and must have the knowledge and the power to create. Therefore Brahman is said to be omniscient, omnipotent. Nitasya hitam kinchit kartavyam asti. Brahman is Purnam. Like the ocean is complete. Ocean doesn't have the need that a few buckets of water should come into that. Even few rivers should bring water. Even that need is not there. The rivers on their own unload all sorts of water into the ocean. That's okay. And when there is drought, the rivers may not bring that much water. Also is okay. Ocean remains established in its own fullness. The fullness of ocean does not depend upon the clouds or the river bringing water to that. Nor does it become reduced if they don't bring water, because it is established in its own completeness. Similarly, Brahman is established in his own Purnatvam, wholeness, completeness. Therefore, there is no expectation or a need that some desirable thing should happen. Then I'll be happier than what I am. Why would you want a desirable thing to happen? So that you will be happier than what you are. Why would you want to avoid undesirable things? So that you will not become unhappy. But in fullness, in Ananda, it is not possible that there can be any addition of happiness or Ananda cannot become unhappy. These questions are not there in Brahman, which is full or complete. Therefore, nahi tasya hitam kinchit kartavyamasti. Nahi kinchit hitam kartavyamasti. There is nothing that is beneficial, that is required or that is to be done in Brahman. Ahitam va parihartavyam, or you take away a few buckets of water from the ocean, that it will become smaller because of that. That's not the case. Similarly, so that is called infinity, which is not subject to increase or decrease. So Brahman cannot be increased, cannot be greater than what it is, cannot be smaller than what it is. Sarvajnat sarvashaktitvacha, because it is sarvajna, omniscient, omnipotent. So this is explained by Nyaya Nirnaya. Nitya muktasyapi brahmana maya shakti yogat vishwa nirmatrutvam aviruddhamiti bhava. Understand? That Brahman that is nitya muktam, is not a jagat, is not jagat karanam in primary sense. Maya shakti yogat. It is the upadhi of Maya, because of which Brahman is called the omniscient, omnipotent, and jagat karanam, the cause of creation. Yattu kartruttvena smartruttvena cha bhavitavyam. Then you said that if Jiva has created the universe, then he must remember what he did. He is a karta, he must remember, and swayameva cha upasamhartavyam. He should have the capability of folding up the whole creation within himself. All these objections are raised, tatraha nachayati. To that the answer is given, that we are not saying Jiva is a creator, we are saying Brahman is a creator. Nacha tasya jnana pratibandha shakti pratibandho va kvachidapi asti. Oh, okay, I was wondering. So, parihartavim nitya mukta svabhavatva. That was there. Nahi tasya hitam kinchit kartavyam asti ahitam va parihartavyam nitya mukta svabhavat. Because it is nitya mukta. Therefore, there is no increase or decrease. Nacha tasya jnana pratibandha shakti pratibandho va kvachidapi asti. Kvachid, never is there any obstruction to his omniscience or his omnipotence. So, kvachidapi jnana pratibandho na. Why do you say that there is no pratibandha or obstruction to the knowledge of Brahman? Sarvajñatvahat. Because Brahman is omniscient, therefore there is no obstruction to his knowledge. Kvachidapi shakti pratibandho nasti iti. That there is never an obstruction to his power. Why? Because sarvashaktitvat. It is omnipotent, therefore there is no obstacle. It any time can do anything it wants. At any time, at all the places, all the times and all conditions, it knows everything as well as is capable of doing what is to be done. There cannot be, there is nothing that can bring pratibandha. What can bring obstacle to Brahman? If there is another Brahman, then it can bring obstacle. There is nothing other than Brahman anyway. In a way, Brahman can be said to be different from Jiva, but not that Jiva is different from Brahman. If Jiva stood apart from Brahman, then it can do something, little one also, like a mouse. Small mouse also can create lot of problems for you. because it's different from you. Similarly, if Jiva was small, that will be insignificant creature. Had it been different from Brahman, then it can create a nuisance for Brahman. Like a mosquito can create nuisance. Like an ant can create a nuisance. So, if Jiva was different from Brahman, then Brahman cannot be called all-knowing, cannot be called all-powerful, because the knowledge and power of Jiva are not there in Brahman. So Jiva is not apart from Brahman. Therefore, there is nobody or nothing to bring about an obstruction to the omniscience and omnipotence of Brahman. Says Nyatahi Kvachidapi Jnana Pratibandhadi Abhavat Asmadadishwapi Smaranadi Prasaktihi. You say Brahman is always omniscient, Brahman is always omnipotent. Then we are Brahman. Therefore, the omniscience, omnipotence should be in us also. Therefore says Sharirastu iti, Bhashyakara says Sharirastu anevam vidaha tasmin prasajjante hita karnadayo doshaha natu tam vayam jagatah srashtaram brumaha. Sharirastu anevam vidaha. Sharira, the embodied soul, the Jivatma, is not like this. He is not omniscient, he is not omnipotent. Jivatma is Brahman, all right, but not omniscient and omnipotent. Understand? So we have to understand that identity in what aspect of Jiva. At the level of Upadhi, Jiva is not Brahman. So Jiva is not apart from Brahman, but Brahman transcends Jiva. So this Sarvajñatvam, omniscience, Sarvashaktimatvam, omnipotence, are all the attributes of Upadhi. In case of Brahman, the Upadhi is Maya. In case of Jiva, the Upadhi is this little ignorance. Therefore, Jiva is not like Brahman from the standpoint of omniscience, omnipotence, etc. From the standpoint of Upadhi. Tasmin prasajjante hita karanadeyo doshaha. In that Jiva who is limited in knowledge, limited in power, it is quite possible that this Jivatma will wind up doing something that is hurtful to his own self. It is possible. Or he may do something that is not beneficial to himself. Possible. After all, people do all kinds of things, poor fellows. With all enthusiasm, they get married to somebody. Turns out a big sentence, Marriage is a word or a sentence. For somebody, it turns out a life sentence, really. Then how do you get out of it? You change the job, thinking that now the prospects are greater. You go there and find out it's a trap. All outwardly looks very good, inside is all hollow, all problems. You change the house and things like that, and then it turns out that this is the wrong location, your wrong neighbors, who knows? So we are not omniscient, we don't know everything. With our limited knowledge, we take into consideration whatever variables that are possible for us today. But then who knows what the neighbor will be? This patra is very beautiful and very nice, but then the samskara, the upbringing is so poor and so bad. Some psychological problems are there. You are stuck whole life. And so Jiva, more often than not, winds up doing things that are not beneficial to him and that are hurtful to him. It's a rare thing that you do something that turns out to be beneficial all the time. It's a rare thing, It requires a great anugraha of Ishvara. Otherwise, you put up with it. It's naturally. Nothing is perfect. No person is perfect. No house is perfect. No job is perfect. No environment is perfect. So you enjoy sitting there on that hinchka jhula, on the swing. Swamiji, I could not sit for more than 5 minutes. So many mosquitoes were there. It's such a nice place, But mosquitoes are there. So every place, nothing is perfect. Everything has its own difficulties and problems. So you cannot expect to make a decision and change, to bring about a change which will be perfect. Not possible. So with jiva who is limited in knowledge and limited in power, all these things can happen. Natu tam vayam jagatah srashtaram brumah. Oh, that was it. Tat abhedat parasminivi srashtari tesham prasaktim ashankya uktam. But hey, Vedantin, you say that Jiva and Brahman are identical, then the dosha, the defects of Jiva will be in Brahman, will they not be? He says, no. Natu vayam tam shariram, that embodied soul, we do not say that it is a creator. Look at Ratnaprabha. Jiveshwarayoho loke bimba pratibimbayoho eva kalpita bheda angikarat. See, nice example. The identity or oneness between Jiva and Ishvara is similar to that between the image and reflection. Reflection is the same as image, not separate from image. But image is separate from reflection. Reflection is dependent, image is independent. Reflection is limited by the medium of reflection, image is independent. So there is oneness at some point between reflection and image, but not in every aspect. So, Jiveshwarayoho loke bimba pratibimbayoho eva kalpita bheda angikarat. So even though there is oneness, there is a kalpita bheda. There is a seeming duality between Jiva and Ishvara, like a seeming duality between the image and reflection. Dharma vyavastha siddhanta grantha iti siddhanta granthartha hai. Dharma vyavastha, omniscient, omnipotence in Ishvara, little knowledge, little power in Jiva. This contradictory or opposite dharmas or attributes are there, which is quite alright, just as between the reflection and image there are different attributes. The reflection looks distorted. The reflection in the bucket of water looks, dirty, looks distorted, looks wavy. So all that can happen. Similarly, Jiva and Ishvara, they have that kind of a difference. Yadi vayam jivam srashtaram brumah tada dosha prasajjante. If we the Vedantins said that Jiva is the creator, then what all you say would be alright. Nadu tam brumah iti anvayah. But that Jiva, limited in knowledge and power, we don't call that Jiva as creator, no. That means that the defects of Jiva do not come to Brahman and the glories of Brahman do not come to Jiva because of the seeming difference in the upadhi. Says Jnanine Sati Abhede darshita vyavastha anupattiri shankate. What is vyavastha? Vyavastha is that Jivatma or Sharira is limited in knowledge, limited in Alpajna, Alpashaktiman, whereas Ishvara is Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman. That's a Vyavastha. That's a Vedanta Vyavastha. That's how Vedanta explains. But you say that Jiva and Brahman are identical, so how can they possess the contradictory attributes? So says, Kutaha etata. How do you say that Brahman is the creator and Jiva is not the creator when Jiva and Brahman are identical? How can it be? Sutra avayavam hetum avatarya vyachaste. So adhikam tu, that is the Siddhanta Pratigna. Veda nirdeshat, that is the hetu. So now that hetu part of the sutra is taken by Bhashyakara and explained. Veda nirdeshat. So that comes from sutra. Because of the mention of Veda or the difference also. Bhashyakara explains. Atmavare drashtavyah shrotavyah mantavyah nididhyasitavyah sonveshtavyah savijignyasitavyah sata somya tada sampanno bhavati. Sharir Atma Prajnena Atmana Anvarudha Iti Evam Jatiyakaha Kartrukarmadi Bheda Nirdeshaha Jivat Adhikam Brahma Darshayati. So, Bheda Nirdesha. What is the Bheda Nirdesha? What is the Nirdesha or pointing out the Bheda or the difference? Is what Kartru Karmadi. That this Upanishad mentions Jiva as Karta and Brahman as Karma or Atma as Karma. Atmavare drashtavyah. So Atma is what? Karma. Drashtavyah. Karmani prayoga. So Atmavare drashtavyah. Atma is to be seen, to be heard, to be reflected upon, to be meditated upon by you, Maitreyi. Hey Maitreyi. Atma is to be known, realized, seen, heard, reflected upon, meditated upon. So Maitreyi is a Kartru, Karta, Kartri, and Atma is a Karma. So therefore, naturally, the one who meditates is different from what is meditated upon, or one who listens is different from what is listened to. Thus, there is a Kartru, Karma, Bheda, Nirdesha. That Ishvara or Brahman, what we mentioned as Atma, is different from Maitreyi, who is a Sharira or Jivatma. Again, Saha Anveshtavyah, Saha Vijignyasitavyah, Saha Anveshtavyah, it has to be searched for. Saha Vijignyasitavyah, it has to be inquired into. Again, Saha. So, by you, Atma was investigated into, Atma was inquired into by you. So, you are different, the inquirer, the investigator is different from Atma, that is to be inquired into, investigated into. Sata somya tada sampanno bhavati. Tada, Sampanno bhavati sharirah sata sampanno bhavati. Hey Somya, then in the deep sleep state or in the state of liberation, the Jivatma becomes one with Sat or with Brahman. So that Sat is the karma and the one who becomes one with that is the karta. So kartru karma nirdesha. Sharira atma prajnena atmana anvarudha. This is very clear. Sharira atma, the embodied soul, prajnena atma anvarudha is presided over by prajnatma or omniscient or Brahman. So that Sharira Atma is one and Prajna Atma is different. This is not Kartru Karma difference, understand. But still, Sharira Atma is presided over by the Brahmatma or Paramatma. So one who presides over is different from one who is presided over. That way also the Bheda Nirdesha is there. Iti evam jatiyaka कर्तृ कर्मादि भेद निर्देश है. कर्तृ कर्मादि आदि शब्द व्यक्ति भेद विषय है. See how nicely the comments are, you know. Bhashyakara writes, but then how can they can see through vyakti bheda, because the Sharira Atma and Prajna Atma, they are two different vyaktis, two different entities, one presided over by the other. That difference. So earlier statements were based on the kartru karma bheda, the difference between the karta and karma, the subject and object. This last sentence is based on the vyakti bheda, two entities are different. Says Nyayana sarvasyapi jiva brahmanoho bheda nirdeshasya Kartru karmantar bhavat. Because all the bheda, all the difference between Jiva and Brahma can be included into karma, karta and karma, subject and object. Iti evam jatiyaka kartru karmadi bheda nirdesha jivat adhikam brahma darshayati. It says how Brahma is Jivat Adhikam is Adhikam greater than Brahma, different from Brahma or greater than Brahma. Idanim Purvavadi Purvoktam Smarayan Bheda Nideshasya Asadhakatvam Ashankate. Purvapakshi says, wait a minute. This statement that you quoted, which seemed to show the Bheda or difference between Jiva and Ishvara, that's the statements you quoted. But how about statements that talk about identity between the two? Therefore, this statement should be interpreted differently. Purvoktam smarayan. What is Purvoktam? That Jivatma or Shariratma is said to be one with Brahman Tattvamasi. Tat Srishtva Tadeva Anupravishad. We have said that the Brahman enters here without undergoing any change. So Brahman is Jivatma. That identity is said there. If these statements talk about the difference between the two, these statements have to be interpreted differently. Meaning that just because you quote a sentence does not mean that your point is established. Hey Siddhanti, you have not yet established your point just by quoting the sentences, because that still remains unresolved. That there are statements of non-duality, they still remain unresolved. Until then, how can you say that these statements prove the difference between the two? So, Bheda Nirdeshasya Asadhakatvam, that is Bheda Nirdesha, the mention of the Bheda is not yet established as long as those things are not resolved. Nanu iti. So Bhashyakara says, Nanu abheda nirdeshopi darshitaha tattvamasi ityevam jatiyakaha. Nanu, wait a minute. Abheda nirdeshopi darshitaha. If you pointed out that the identity between Jiva and Jiva and Brahma is also stated. Tattvamasi, Mahavakya, and similar Vakya is also Aham Brahmasmi, Prajnanam Brahma, Ayam Atma Brahma, and such statements, Tattvam, Tattvameva, Tvameva Tat, and similar statements point out the absolute oneness between the two also. So how to explain that? How to resolve that? And so says Nyaya Tulya Balataya Dvayorapi Nirdeshayo Sadhakatvam. So tentatively, why not both are right? Tulya Balataya, because both are Shrutis, and Shruti is Pramana. So Shruti that talks about Bheda also is right, and Shruti that talks about Abheda also is right. Tulya Balataya. Now when these Shrutis appear to be contradictory, then we need to decide what is Balavati Shruti. What Shruti is stronger and what Shruti is weaker, then we have to interpret the weaker Shruti in the favor of the stronger Shruti. So tentatively we accept that both the Shrutis are equally strong, and therefore why not we say that both are right, Abheda also is right, Abheda also is right. There is a Paksha there also. So Purva Pakshi says, Katham Bheda Bhedau Viruddhau Sambhaveyatam. Katham Bheda Bhedau Viruddhau. Bheda and Abheda, which are mutually exclusive. Where Bheda is there, Abheda cannot be. Where identity is there, difference cannot be. Where difference is there, identity cannot be. So how can this mutually contradictory aspects or contradictory realities, nature, how can this mutually contradictory nature be there in one entity? It cannot be. So Purvapaksha. See, these are all ways to resolve. Our mind also will question that you now here say that there is Bheda. Earlier you said there is a Bheda, and now you are saying there is Bheda. How can both be there? So Vedanta has to reconcile all the statements of Shruti. You cannot say this group of statement is right, other group of statement is, you can't say that. So Bhashyakara says, Nyaya says, Vastavam, Ekatvam, Upadikam, Nanatmamiti, Ubhaya Nirdeshopapattihi. Vastavam, Ekatvam, from the standpoint of the nature, there is oneness. Isha Jivayoho Veshadhibhida Satsvabhavato Vastu Kevalam. Veshadhibhida. With Ishvara and Jiva, there is Bheda. Bheda means the duality, apparent duality from the standpoint of Vesha or Upadi, Satsvabhavatu. But from the Svabhava, which is Sat or consciousness or existence, Vastu Kevalam. There is only one Vastu. Not that Jiva is one entity, Ishvara is another entity. They look like different from the standpoint of costume, like an actor putting on different costumes. The beggar looks different from king, Sat Svabhavato, but from the standpoint of the real nature, the entity is one. So Bhashyakara says, Naisha dosha. That dosha is not there. Akasha ghatakasha nyayena ubhaya sambhavasya tatra tatra pratishthapitatvat. Akasha ghatakasha nyayena. But the rule of the space and the part space. From the standpoint of the upadhi of pot, the pot space appears to be different from total space, but from the standpoint of space, they are not different. So there is a difference from one standpoint. Vesha dhi bheda. From the standpoint of Vesha or Upadhi, there is Veda, apparent Veda. Sat Svabhavata, but from the standpoint of the Svabhava, the consciousness, which is the true nature of the Jivatma, the limitedness, etc., all belong to Upadhi. In true nature, Jivatma is consciousness. Similarly also, the omniscience, etc., belong to Upadhi of Brahman. In reality, Brahman also is conscious. Sat Svabhavato is Satchit Ananda Asti Bhadi Priyam. From that standpoint, both are one. So, Tatra Tatra Pradishthapitatvat. In those respects, wherever the occasion came, we have explained how there is a difference and from one standpoint, but in ultimate sense there is a non-difference. Non-difference absolute is a reality. Difference is apparent, arising from ignorance, from Brahma, delusion, from identification. That's what we explain. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.